Hi guys, I'm leaving Target and I need to run a couple of more errands, but I figured that I would make a little vlog out of this. So I need to get Axel some food and also go by the Container Store. So that is what is on the agenda. And then I want to go home and get some filming done because I took yesterday off. I wasn't in the mood to film, and if I'm not in the mood for it, then, you know, why do it? You know what I mean? So anyway, it is finally nice here. It's actually much warmer than what is considered nice. And I'm really happy about it. I thrive so, just weather is so deeply connected to like mood and how you feel and what you feel like doing. So it's been really nice to have it be mild again. So I want to share some unpopular opinions in this video because I've had a few come to my mind and I actually wrote them down this time so that I wouldn't lose track. And I'm going to go over those kind of sporadically in this video. But obviously I have to put a disclaimer. If you think that these things are okay, that's totally fine. They're just my opinions. People get so caught up in how someone else feels about something, and it's like, it's okay if you like that thing. It is okay, I promise you. Just opinions sometimes are taken so seriously online, and I mean, I understand some things like fundamentally are worth a conversation, but most of the things I see people getting wrapped up about is not that important in the grand scheme of things, just how I feel, you know? So number one unpopular opinion is this stems from me consuming so much true crime and hearing about these cases and people that not only get themselves into one situation, but then they repeat the behavior. And so that's where this kind of stems from. But I think that people who leave their children in the car and the children ends up, you know, or the child ends up passing, I feel like a lot of times it's not a mistake. And I do understand that sometimes mistakes happen and we can always go off the, oh, well, you never know. Sure, you don't know. But I feel like a lot of times it's not a mistake. I just feel like a lot of times people use that as an excuse to say, oh, well, I forgot. Oh, I had so much going on that I just forgot. I forgot. It slipped my mind. I'm sorry, but there cannot be that many people that literally forget their child is in the car. I'm not buying it. I think that people use that form as a way to say, oh, well, it just slipped my mind. I just don't buy into that philosophy that many people are forgetting their children in the damn car. All right, you guys, we have to drive way the fuck out yonder to get Axel's other food. When I was at Target, I bought this measuring cup right here. And it's the only thing I bought, so I didn't take a bag or anything. But this measuring cup, I have one at home already. I love this measuring cup so much. It's heavyweight glass, and it's made by the Hearth and Hand brand. But I love it so much because it looks a little retro. I really like that the marks are not printed on, they're actually embossed, so it's not going to wear down or chip away with time. And I love it so much, so I ended up buying an extra one because I feel like with glass stuff, you never know, like it could chip, it could break, you might drop it, mistakes happen. I had this spoon rest from Anthropology. I probably bought it, as of now, I probably bought it 10 years ago. It was one of the random little things that I bought, just not even really thinking too much about it. And one night It was a couple years ago. My boyfriend was washing the dishes and he accidentally dropped it in the sink and it broke, obviously. And he felt so bad because he knew how long I had had it. He tried to like super glue it together and fix it, but it was in so many different pieces. It was just not the same, so we ended up throwing it away. But it was one of those things where I'm like, I wish I had another one. It was special, but stuff like that happens. That's just part of, you know, life. Like, mistakes happen. He dropped it. It was a mistake, and I do miss that. It was my favorite. I have another spoon rest that I ended up buying after the fact. I want to know how you guys feel about my opinion with this idea of leaving children in the car. But I just feel like that's one of those things where people use that as an excuse, like, oh, I forgot, it was, I wasn't thinking, I was running late for work. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I think that people use it too often as an excuse. And I do know that mistakes happen, but I do think also that a lot of them are not mistakes and they're intentional. So the next one is going to piss some people off because I can already hear it. You're not a mom. You don't know what you would do, blah, blah, blah. Bring in those comments. It's all good. I think that eating placenta is disgusting. I don't care about what kind of health benefits it has. I don't care if it's the damn fountain of youth that nobody knows about yet. I think it's disgusting. I have seen people on social media making placenta milkshakes. What? I'm sorry, like there's no claim, no scientific study, no nothing that you could show me that would make me want to do that. There's no way. I think it borderlines on cannibalism, and I think it's fucking weird. Next unpopular opinion, let's talk about walking your dog. Now, I talked recently in a video about how I cannot stand people that don't pick up after their dogs on a walk. I did give the whole thing about, I get it, you know, maybe once every couple years, it's that one time that you don't have bags and you're not in a place where bags are available. I get that happens once in a blue moon, like literally once in a blue moon that will happen. But I think a lot of people are just, you know, lazy about it. But secondly, to people who don't pick up after their dogs, I want to talk about the people who cannot go for a walk with their dog without having their head in their phone the entire time. And this has always pissed me off. Do I take my phone when I go for a walk? I do, but it's for emergencies only. It is so that I can call for help if something were to happen. It's not for entertainment. It's not to respond to text messages. Anybody who texts me will be perfectly fine waiting 20 to 30 minutes for me to finish walking my dog. There's nothing that is that important where somebody can't wait a few minutes to get a respond back. And if it's that much of an emergency, there are a couple of people that I will answer their phone call, obviously. But I am not taking my phone so that I can scroll on Instagram, scroll on TikTok, do all that kind of stuff while I'm walking my dog. I have seen people, literally in the last year, I have seen several people when I've been on a walk with my dog where they have their head buried in their phone so much to the point where their dog is responding to seeing Axel and they won't even take their phone and put it in their pocket so that they can see what their dog is reacting to. They won't even look up. I think that it just, you know, it speaks to this like digital age that we're in where we're so far into it, people cannot even go for a walk without having their face in their phone. And aside from it being a safety thing, You know, obviously the safety thing is really big because you want to be aware of your surroundings. And if someone is walking up on you or staring at you, you just want to be aware of your surroundings, obviously. But secondly, when you take your dog for a walk, you should be engaged with them. You should take, in my opinion, you should take that time to be fully engaged in what your dog is doing and what they're responding to. And are they smelling something that could, you know, hurt them? Are they trying to eat something off the ground that they could get sick from? It's just, put your damn phone away. I look at so many of these situations and it's like, can you not look at your phone for a 10-minute period of time? And listen, I'm on my phone a lot. I will be the first one to admit that. But there are certain situations where my phone is put away. And going for a walk is one of them. And even if I'm not with Axel, even if I'm just by myself, I am not on my phone because I want to see who's looking at me, who's walking next to me, just to be aware, to be safe. And obviously I carry things to keep myself safe when I'm on walks and all of that good jazz, but being aware is the first step in trying to, you know, stay safe. And that's how I feel about it. It's funny too because it's the same thing when I see like parents going for walks or going to the park with their kids and they're not watching what their kids are doing because they have their face in their phone. Watch your kids. Engage with your kids. It's the same idea. If your face is in your phone, how are you going to pay attention to your kid getting hurt on the playground or your kid and another kid not getting along, somebody taking your kid, some creep over here standing watching, you know, watching the playground? Like you can't do that if your head is in your phone. And I know that one will probably give me some heat because everybody likes to say, oh, you think you're better than everyone else, you think you're holier than thou. I don't. I am as humble as they come. But I also realize that there are certain things that could be done better. And if you have any level of self-awareness, you can look at your own life and say, maybe I could do things a little bit differently. I've made changes on how I handle certain things. And I change things all of the time. Whether or not I discuss them on my channel or keep them quiet, I'm constantly changing the way that I approach things, the way I think about things, things that I instill in my own life to do better. Because if I'm preaching about doing better, I have to do better too. And I'm constantly changing things about myself. Oh, before I share the next one with you guys, I just want to insert in here because it's not worth its own video. I have recently discovered speaking of true crime, I've recently discovered the anti-Shanann Watts communities on social media. Oh boy. You guys know, like I've mentioned the Watts case in passing before. I think that we're all super familiar with it. And there is a whole part of the internet that picks apart Shanann Watts, reacts to her old Facebook Live videos, and some of the content that I have seen is absolutely appalling. The things that these people will say about Shanann. Now here's my thing. How I feel about this is, do I think that some of the criticisms that I've heard are valid? Yes, I do, because as everybody knows, she was in an MLM. They, you know, their financial situation was not good because of the MLM. There have been a couple of clips that I have seen where it is kind of, you know, worth some commentary. But it's not worth the commentary when you consider that she is no longer with us and things ended in such a brutal way. I get it, okay? If you don't want it on the internet, don't put it out there. But when someone is brutally murdered, I think that is a point in time where opinions can go in the trash. But like the way that these people pick her apart, it's just insane to me. I understand that being in an MLM is extremely problematic. I've done anti-MLM content myself. I'm very aware of the financial ruin that they can cause to families and the predatory nature of the uplines who recruit these stay-at-home moms and give promises of financial freedom, and you're going to make so much money and you're going to get to go on trips and you get a car allowance. And I understand what they do, but why not focus on people who are actively trying to recruit and people who are actively ruining their financial situation because of being in an MLM? Why not focus on people who are current day trying to recruit people to come into their MLM? I just don't understand, like, what's the purpose of rehashing old videos from somebody who is no longer here? And obviously I know the answer to that. It's because her name brings clicks and views, because people were so invested and so infatuated with the Watts case, and they still are, because people are looking for answers that we will never receive, because there's no sense in what happened. There's no reconciliation of why things unfolded the way that they did. We're never going to get answers for it. And I just feel like these anti-Shanann groups that exist online, it is so meaningless simply because she's not here. She's not here. So why continue to dissect these videos that she posted on Facebook? They're what, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old at this point? Like, why? I don't understand. And some of these people are so, like, people come to my videos and say, oh, you're full of hate. Those comments, I'm so numb to them at this point. You want to see people that are full of hate? Wait till you see the people that are ripping apart Shanann Watts. Those are people that are full of hate. And hate for a person who was brutally taken and her 2 sweet children were taken. I don't know. All right, guys, they did not have Axel's food, so I am just on a whole scavenger hunt now. And I know, before anyone leaves a comment, I should order it, but I've just always been the type of person to grab stuff while I'm out. I really should just put it on auto ship, but I don't. So whatever. It's my issue to deal with, and that's why I run errands. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. We'll get it done. But that also means that this vlog will be a little longer, and maybe that's good. Maybe that's not good. I don't know. Random thought, and I have this video saved that I'm going to include for context, but I want to talk about Teen Mom for a second, like the show Teen Mom. There is a TikToker who does deep dives on the teen moms. She does a really good job, and they're super entertaining, and she just does a great job at doing recaps of teen moms. And I'll include her TikTok in the description box in case you guys are interested. But with her doing these recaps, it kind of sparked something in my memory. Even if you don't watch Teen Mom and you never have, I'm sure we all know who Janelle is. Janelle is a train wreck. Like, if I was going to rank the worst characters to come out of Teen Mom, and it's not even a character because it's actually her, I guess the worst cast people to come out of Teen Mom, it would be Janelle and Farrah. And I think that Janelle beats Farrah by a little bit because of specific things that she's done. Her husband, David, is an absolute just piece of shit. The things that Janelle has done on Teen Mom are so alarming, and I came across this video on TikTok that was showing her road rage incident. It really encapsulates just how unhinged she is, and I try to not use that word to describe people very often, but I think Janelle is one of those people who, she literally is a great example of people who cannot control their own emotions. It is so alarming. I know that there's been some chatter and some conversation about, you know, did Teen Mom inspire people to start having children at a young age in hopes to becoming, you know, famous? I don't think that people were watching Teen Mom and thinking, oh, I should get pregnant so that I can be famous. I don't believe in that ideology at all. I think that the reason Teen Mom was so successful is because people like to watch a mess. People like to watch drama. People like to watch the train go off the tracks, so to speak. It's entertaining for people. It's something to look forward to. What kind of drama is going to happen next week? And that's what keeps people coming back. So MTV was cashing in on the fact that they were broadcasting, you know, these drama-filled households that had children in them, and you know, people fighting and cops being called and courts being involved. Like, they were cashing in on that, but it looks so disgusting. They just continued to allow way too much from people like Janelle and her husband David. I just can't believe, like, people like that. I talk all the time about giving the wrong people a platform, and I see it constantly. You cannot deny the fact that there are endless people who have been given platforms that they don't deserve. Why is Janelle famous? It's because people like watching a mess. But how often, like, for how long is that entertaining? Like, how long can you watch the train wreck and continue to be entertained by it? I get drama fatigue. I don't know about you guys, but even if something is a little entertaining at first, I get really tired of it. If it's messy and it's drama, yeah, it might be kind of entertaining for a little while, but I get really tired of mess. It makes me feel tired, worn down, and I get worn down enough just existing. Like, day-to-day life is tiring sometimes. So it's not going to last too long for me, and I think it's embarrassing that someone like Janelle Evans is famous. Same with Farrah. I think the only solid person, no, not person, the solid people that came out of the Teen Mom franchise are Macy and Chelsea. And I guess Caitlin's okay too, but I haven't really kept up with her very much. But Chelsea's doing really well for herself. Macy's doing really well for herself. But a lot of those girls are just famous for all the wrong reasons. All right, guys, I got the food finally. I am way out of the way, but that's all right. I think as a society, we should be normalizing going no contact with parents. I think that the generation, like my parents' generation, they were, they're baby boomers, and they had a millennial child. And I feel like the relationship between baby boomers and millennial children is so just deeply woven with so many issues. Like, I get it, like parents did their best and all of that kind of stuff. Like, that's all good and well, but when someone says, I'm no contact with my mom, I'm no contact with my dad, I'm no contact with my sister or brother or whoever, up until very recently, there was this like cloak of shame when it came to being no contact with a parent. And let's just focus on the parent for this example. When someone is no contact with a parent, they don't need to hear your lecture. They don't need to hear, oh, well, your mom did her best with what she had. You should give her another chance. You don't know if that person has given their parent 57 chances and they fucked off all of them, and that's why they're no contact. The way that people want to look down on children who are no contact with their parents, I think is just another bad part of society. Nobody owes their parent a relationship as an adult. If you feel like, and I've talked about this before, so I won't harp on it for a really long time, but if you feel like going no contact with your parent is protecting your mental health and your well-being, that is okay. And I'm so tired of this idea of, oh, well, when your parent gets sick, you still need to be there for them. Oh, when they get old, you still need to be there for them. You don't need to be guilted into all of a sudden rebuilding a relationship with your parent. We are at the Golden Arches, Wegmans. I need to grab a couple things, but before I do, this idea of like having to be shamed because you're no contact with a parent, I feel like it needs to be normalized that people are not going to be super close with their parents once they're adults. I think it's such a sensitive, it's sensitive and it's a sore subject, but going no contact is not an easy decision to come to. And if someone has finally come to that decision and they feel like that's what's best, let's normalize that. Let's celebrate people caring for their own mental health and their own well-being. I feel like that's, getting better, but we still have a lot of work to do. So the last one that I'm going to put in this video is unpopular opinion. Weed is not as bad as what people make it out to be. It's really not. I think that some people are still, you have these people who are like stuck in the past where it's like, oh, it's the devil's lettuce, and you use that to escape reality and everything is all cloudy and fuzzy. It's just really funny to me because a lot of the people who do that are also people who drink alcohol. And if I was going to choose, I will always choose to openly accept people who use weed over alcohol. Alcohol to me is much more damaging and much more serious than weed is. So I feel like, why is it painted out to be like it's such a bad thing? There's so many benefits. There's so many positives to people who use it, whether it's for medical reasons or anxiety or you know, their relationship with food. I know it helps a lot of people with their relationship with food. So I don't know. I don't get the shame. I don't get the shaking the finger at people who choose to incorporate it, but I don't know. Tell me how you guys feel. I'm going to get on with my day so that I can get home to our sweet little puppy. But for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.